The email arrived at 2:17 a.m., glowing on my phone like a silent accusation. No greeting. No warmth. Just one sentence that split my chest open and let the past spill out. Don't come to my wedding. Watch through the live stream, okay? For a long moment, I didn't breathe. The ceiling fan hummed above me, steady and indifferent, while my heart tried to understand how a daughter I once carried beneath my ribs could reduce me to a pixel on a screen. I read the sentence again, slower this time, as if it might soften if I held it gently. It didn't. My name is Elena Rivera, and I am not unfamiliar with pain. I am familiar with eviction notices slid under doors, with divorce papers served coldly across polished desks, with learning how to cry quietly so your child doesn't hear you breaking in the next room. But this was different. This was my child choosing absence. I sat up in bed, my knees pulled to my chest, phone shaking slightly in my hand. Images crashed into me without permission. Sophia at 6, missing her 2 front teeth, holding my hand on her first day of school. Sophia at 13, screaming that she hated me because I couldn't afford the shoes everyone else had. Sophia at 22, packing her bags after college, telling me she needed space, in a voice already half gone. And now Sophia at 27, a bride who did not want her mother in the room. I replied with nothing. I closed the email and set the phone face down, as if it could burn me. Sleep never returned. Instead, memories did. After her father left, it was just the 2 of us. He had chosen another woman, another life, and the freedom of not being needed. I worked 3 jobs then, cleaning offices before sunrise, bookkeeping at a small logistics company during the day, waitressing at night. My hands were always cracked. My back always hurt. But I showed up. Every parent-teacher meeting. Every school play, even when I smelled like bleach and coffee. But somewhere along the way, showing up became something Sophia resented. When she met Daniel, everything shifted. He was charming in that polished, effortless way, expensive watch, polite smile, eyes that measured people like assets. He worked in finance, came from a family that owned homes they never lived in. The first time I met him, I wore my best dress, ironed twice. He shook my hand like he was sealing a deal. After that, the visit slowed. The calls became shorter. Sophia started correcting my grammar. She stopped telling me about her problems. And when she announced her engagement, she did it over text. The wedding was going to be at a coastal resort, white stone, blue water, the kind of place I'd only seen in magazines in waiting rooms. I knew I didn't belong there, but I thought love counted for something. Apparently, I was wrong. The next morning, sunlight found me sitting at the kitchen table, staring at my coffee until it went cold. My hands rested on the wood, scarred and familiar. I looked around my small apartment, the mismatched chairs, the framed photos, the quiet dignity of a life built without help, and something inside me hardened. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was ashamed. Ashamed that I had raised a daughter who felt the need to hide me. Ashamed that I still wanted to apologize, even though I didn't know for what. Ashamed that part of me wondered if she was right. I went to work like nothing had happened. Balanced accounts. Answered emails.
Smiled when spoken to.
But underneath, a question burned. If I don't go, who am I in her story? That evening, I received another email. Shorter. Colder. It's better this way. Please don't make it difficult. That was when the tears came, hot, humiliating, unstoppable. I cried for the years I skipped meals so she could eat. For the nights I stayed awake, counting bills instead of dreams. For the mother-daughter bond one thought was unbreakable. And then, slowly, the tears stopped. Something else took their place.
Clarity.
If my daughter wanted me invisible, fine. If she wanted me distant, I would give her distance but not weakness. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't argue. And I wouldn't quietly disappear the way everyone expected me to. I opened my laptop and pulled up the livestream details she had sent.
Date. Time.
Link. I stared at it, then at my reflection in the dark screen. My eyes were tired, yes, but there was steel there too. A woman who had survived abandonment, poverty, betrayal. A woman who had never once stopped standing up. I know what to do. I whispered to the empty room. And for the first time since that email arrived, I felt something dangerously close to calm. Because if I was going to be excluded from my daughter's wedding, I would decide what that exclusion meant. The live stream countdown blinked silently on the screen. 3 weeks to go. And I was already planning something no one would see coming. The day of the wedding arrived wrapped in cruel perfection. Sunlight poured through my window like it was celebrating something I wasn't invited to. The sky was a sharp, unapologetic blue. I woke early, heart pounding, and for a split second forgot what day it was, until the ache returned, familiar and heavy. I dressed carefully, anyway. Not because anyone would see me, but because I would. I chose a navy blue dress I'd worn to my own wedding decades ago, altered now, softened by time. I brushed my hair slowly, deliberately. I put on lipstick, a small act of defiance. At noon, I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, live stream link glowing. My hands hovered over the trackpad. I could still close it. I could pretend the wedding didn't exist. But I clicked. The screen flickered to life. There it was, white chairs arranged like obedient soldiers, oceans stretching endlessly behind them. Guests laughed, their dresses bright, their suits crisp. A violin played softly. The camera panned across faces I didn't know, lives untouched by mine. Then Sophia appeared. My breath caught so sharply it hurt. She was radiant. Truly. Her hair swept up, her gown elegant and expensive, her smile practiced and serene. For a moment, pride surged through me so strong it nearly drowned everything else. Then I noticed who stood beside her. Daniel's mother adjusted Sophia's veil with tender authority. Daniel's father kissed her cheek. His family surrounded her like they had always belonged there. There was no empty seat for me. The officiant began speaking. Words about love, unity, family. Each one landed like a quiet insult. My chest tightened and my vision blurred, but I didn't look away. Because this was not just her wedding. This was a reckoning. As the vows began, my phone buzzed beside the laptop. A notification from my bank app. I almost ignored it, but something made me open it. A deposit confirmation flashed on the screen. $48,000 received. I stared, confused, heart racing. Then understanding hit me all at once, so violently I had to grip the edge of the table. 6 months earlier, Sophia had called me late at night, voice trembling. She said Daniel's investment deal had gone wrong, that there were debts, legal fees, that his parents were furious and refusing to help. She hadn't asked directly. She never did. But I knew what she meant. I emptied my savings, sold my car, took out a high-interest loan I had no business touching at my age. I wired the money quietly, told no one, asked for nothing. Sophia cried on the phone, promising it was temporary. 3 months later, she stopped calling. Now, as I watched her say, "I do beneath the sky paid for by my sacrifice," I finally understood. The deposit wasn't a gift. It was a refund. Someone had sent the money back. My email chimed. A message from an unfamiliar address. Mrs. Rivera, I believe this belongs to you. Truth matters more than appearances.
I'm sorry.
Attached documents. Screenshots. Bank transfers. Emails between Daniel and his parents, discussing me like a problem already solved. Referring to me as the mother and the loan. Celebrating how neatly they had cut me out once the crisis passed. My hand shook, but my mind was suddenly terrifyingly clear. Sophia didn't exclude me because she was ashamed of my job, my clothes, or my apartment. She excluded me because my presence reminded them of a debt, of a truth that didn't fit their perfect narrative. On the live stream, the officiant announced the couple as husband and wife. Applause erupted. Sophia laughed, radiant, free. I closed the laptop. Silence filled the room. I sat there for a long time, documents spread before me like evidence in a trial no one else would ever see. I thought about revenge, public, explosive, satisfying. I imagined sending these files to everyone at that resort, shattering the illusion in real time. But revenge, I realized, would still center them. This wasn't about punishing my daughter. This was about reclaiming myself. I opened a new email. Not to Sophia. To a lawyer. Then another to my HR department. And another to the small community nonprofit where I'd volunteered quietly for years. That night, I slept without crying for the first time since the email arrived. Because I finally understood something vital. I had been watching their story through a live stream. Now, it was time to write my own. The applause fades quickly after a wedding. Flowers wilt. Guests return home. Dresses are boxed. And when the music stops, reality steps forward, patient and unavoidable. 2 weeks after the ceremony, my phone rang. Sophia's name lit up the screen. I let it ring. Then she called again. And again. On the 4th call, I answered. Mom? Her voice cracked instantly. Why didn't you say anything? I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the city below my office window, my new office, with glass walls and a view I'd earned. What would you like me to say, Sophia? There was silence. Then quieter. Daniel's parents, they said you got the money back. That you talked to a lawyer. I did, I said calmly. You embarrassed them, she snapped, panic bleeding into anger. They're furious. Daniel's job is at risk. I closed my eyes. There it was. Not did I hurt you? Not I'm sorry. Just consequences. I wasn't at your wedding, I said gently. I watched from a screen like you asked. I didn't speak. I didn't interfere. I simply stopped being invisible. Her breath hitched. You could have told me. I could have, I agreed. But you didn't tell me I was being erased either. We met a week later at a cafe halfway between our worlds. Sophia looked tired. Marriage had not protected her from reality. It had accelerated it. She avoided my eyes at first. Then suddenly, she was crying, makeup smearing, shoulders shaking. I didn't know how to choose, she whispered. They made me feel like I'd lose everything if I didn't do what they wanted. I watched her carefully. My daughter. Still flawed. Still human. I know, I said. But choosing silence was a choice. She nodded, defeated. I didn't hug her. Not yet. I told her about the loan I had paid off with the return money. About the promotion I'd accepted. One I'd earned after years of being overlooked because I never asked. About the nonprofit board that had invited me to lead a new program helping single mothers build financial independence. I spent years thinking my value came from how much I could endure for other people, I said. I was wrong. She looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time, I saw something like respect break through the guilt. I don't know if I can fix this, she said. I'm not asking you to, I replied. I'm asking you to understand that I will no longer disappear to make others comfortable. When we stood to leave, she hesitated. Will you come to dinner sometime? I smiled, small but real. We'll see. Because empowerment isn't loud. Sometimes, it's simply knowing you no longer need permission to exist. That night, at home, I opened my laptop again. Not to watch anyone else's life, but to write, plan, build. The live stream era of my life was over. From now on, I would be fully present in my own story. And whether my daughter chose to join me would be up to her.